I increased my leads by 294% and my conversions by 85%. I just found that out when doing a comparison between January 2024 and January 2025. It's really mind-blowing when I have numbers like that. And in today's video, I want to share with you the strategies I implemented to make that happen. I'm also going to share with you the mindset shift that had to happen to make those strategies happen as well. So by the end of this video, not only are you going to have practical strategies you can implement, but you're also going to know how I was thinking about it and what shifted in order to make this all happen. Now, like always, there's no gatekeeping here. I'm going to give you just a peek behind the curtains. We're going to look at my notes together as we go through the video. Also, don't mind this massive light behind me. I'm in a temporary space, so it looks like the sun is behind me. But thank you for bearing with me. Without further ado, let's jump in. Here we are. Perfect. Screen share. Yep, so this is the article. Let me make sure I have it all pulled up. Okay, you can see me. You can see the article. So like I said, I increased my leads by 294%. Now, just some basic definitions before we start. When I'm talking about leads, I'm talking about people that contacted the practice interested in therapy with us. Okay, I think I have that written down. Yes, right here. And when I say conversions, I'm talking about people who actually became clients and joined the practice as an active client. All right, so just keep those in mind as we go through. So the first thing that I had to do, or that had to happen, was a mindset shift. All right. So back in January 2024, right, last year, about a year ago, was that a year ago? No, that's way more than a year ago now, right? But anyway, January 2024, and before that, I thought that marketing was kind of out of my reach, right? I always had thought like I could do a little bit, or I can learn this, or I can learn that, but just the basics. Anything that was like Google ads or the real marketing, I was like, there's no way I can do that. No training, no background. I either have to outsource that or just work really, really hard with the little bit of information I had. And so in my mind, I thought I was really limited, right? So I would adjust my Psychology Today profile. I would sometimes try to make a website page or something like that. I would occasionally dabble in the Google ad space, but to no avail, okay? But at some point, I think it was after outsourcing Google Ads to people, which, by the way, if you outsource, it's not a bad thing. It can work really well as long as you know the people doing it know what they're doing. But nonetheless, this was one of the triggers for the mindset shift. And I remember paying for the ad, and it was working okay. But once I wasn't able to pay the ongoing maintenance fees, the ad just kind of fell apart. It wasn't working. And at that point, I was like, all right, I don't have an endless budget to have these maintained all the time. I want to learn this myself. And I became really determined to empower myself to learn more about marketing, to go just beyond the basics of profile tweaks and things like that, which is when I decided to go all in on learning some of this for myself. And it actually started with the Google ad, right? That was kind of the trigger. But the first thing I started to do was track information and data about my practice using a CRM. I've been talking about that in a lot of videos. If you want access to the CRM I'm using, I'm actually able to provide you access to it. I'll leave a link down below in the description. But that's not the purpose of this video. Anyway, what I decided to do was start tracking data about my practice. It was free. It would just take me time. So I started to track the data about how many referrals I was getting, where they were coming from. And for the first time, I felt like I was seeing my practice from a different perspective, right? I was starting to see like where our referrals were coming from and like the number breakdown, right? Not just an assumption or a guess. And I was starting to see how many we were getting per month. I could see the graph that I was making. And although this wasn't the most complex thing, for the first time, I started to understand where the problems were and what to do about them. I didn't know exactly how to fix them, but I was like, oh, okay, I recognized that we were pretty good at getting conversions, meaning if someone reached out, they would often become a client, right? That wasn't really our weak point, but I wasn't getting as many referrals or leads as I'd liked. So I realized like this is the major issue. Now, for a lot of people, this isn't mind-blowing, right? As therapists, this is kind of what we need. We need referrals. But I decided I had to focus my attention on lead generation. Even discovering that that was a term, lead generation, opened the doors to a whole bunch of different things to learn. If you Google lead generation, you're going to get a lot more information than if you Google something like more referrals for a therapist, right? So that's when I decided I'm going to learn for the first time. And I want to encourage you, if you take anything away from that little ramble, you can do it, right? And maybe you don't want to spend all your time doing these things, but if you can learn the things that I'm going to talk about at least a little bit, then even if you outsource, you know what you're looking for, which will be wildly helpful and very empowering for you. So that's the mindset shift, and maybe this video will do that for you. You'll have that mindset shift. All right, so once that happened, I decided to start implementing strategies. Now, there are a couple strategies, which you can already see displayed on the screen, that really helped get me to this huge increase in leads. Let's actually go through them one by one. So the first one I talked about was Google Ads. And for the very first time, I did not outsource this, but I did it myself. Okay, and these were the most effective ads I've ever run when it came to Google. All right, and so the back end work was actually learning how to run the ad. I had to learn, I won't go into it here. I made a whole video on the Google Ads and what I learned. I'll leave a link down below in the description. You can check that out. But this was the first thing that I started to do, right, that led to this increase. And this included making a landing page, making sure the ad was working well. But leads were coming from the Google Ads. Now, there were like hard leads, or what do you call warm leads, or whatever you want to call them, that would call or email directly. I also realized that as I looked at the data, at the number of referrals we were getting, or even the number of emails we were getting, even if they didn't convert, there was like a much broader reach. So I think people were seeing us even more. Well, I don't think I know that Google Ads even expanded the kind of the breadth or the width of the practice. So people were seeing it, right? More people, more eyes on the practice because of the ad. So Google Ads is one. If you're interested in getting help with Google Ads, I'm happy to help. You can set up a free call with me. We can chat about it, right? It's just one therapist who's using them and they're working to another therapist. And I can tell you about what works, what doesn't work, and share with you a bit about what's been working for me. But Google Ads is one, okay? Now, what might come as more of a surprise is the meta ads, right? So we have, here we go, right here. Meta ads. So this includes Facebook and Instagram, okay? Now, I was hesitant to try these at first because you hear all sorts of things, right? They don't work or whatever the case may be. But the thing about the meta ads is that you get a huge reach for a very low cost, okay? So what I decided to do was throw together an ad. It was nothing great, nothing professional. You know, it was like a quick thing on Photoshop with just text. And I decided to run these ads on both Facebook and Instagram. Now, I will say that the conversions that I tracked from meta ads were not high. So not as many people became clients, at least in the month that I was closely tracking. But the reach was wide. I mean, a lot of leads and referrals, right? Which may become conversions down the line. So a ton of reach from the meta ads. And a lot of people called, emailed, right? All coming from this meta ad. So I would say that the reach of the ad is quite good, right? Now, I don't know yet, I still have to track and look at some of the data. How much did that time frame, like the January time where I ran the ad, did it increase the conversions down the line? And actually, if I look a little bit ahead, the conversions for the following month were high as well. Now, these might be people who saw the ad once and then came to the website later. I don't know, but the reach was there. And so meta ads, Facebook and Instagram was another part of that strategy. The backbone behind the strategies is what I would consider the CRM software. Now, why is that the case? This is because whenever I'd get a referral or a lead, not just from Google or Meta, but anywhere really, it would funnel right into my CRM. Inside that CRM is my pipeline. So they would be organized into different stages, right? Do they just contact us? Have they scheduled a free consult? Et cetera, et cetera. And it would be laid out like a board, right? So I could see I have another video about this, right? It might be hard to visualize, but like one column would be like people who had just reached out. The next column would be, we scheduled a 15-minute consultation, whatever the case may be. And then what I would do is every day I'd log into there, and I could call, email, and text right from that CRM in a HIPAA compliant way. And this made follow-up very quick and very organized. I knew exactly who had reached out, where they came from, and right from there, I can send a text or an email. If they responded right away, great, there's a link to book. If they did not respond, well, then I can follow up in a couple of days. There was no one falling through the cracks, and this is because they would kind of just move to a different pipeline stage, and I would see where people were, right? No one lost in the email inbox, no one lost to the missed call list. everything really organized in the CRM. So I would say this was the backbone. So the leads came in, and then the CRM really helped organize and allowed us to call and contact right away, which I think led to, well, I know the conversions increased a lot. So this also led to the increased conversions as well. The other thing that really helped was the landing page. So this was something I did in conjunction with the Google ad. So I'd run the Google ad and it would point to a landing page that was specific to the issue we were advertising for. And for the very first time, I had people saying that the landing page resonated with them, it spoke to them. Right now, there's a formula to the landing page, right? It's nothing perfect. There's like some art to it as well, but there is a formula, a way of writing them. And in all my research and things like that, I had learned a bit about that too. So I implemented that. So I would say when I did the Google ads and the meta ads, people would click the ad, end up on a landing page that actually resonated with them, and then they would call us or contact us or email us and end up in the CRM. And all 4 of these techniques, strategies worked together, and this is the result. The leads increased, I'm not joking, by almost 300%. If you take my January leads, 2024, and compare them to January 2025, the increase was 294%. The conversions was 85% increase, right? These are mind-blowing numbers. And this all comes not only because we were tracking the data, but because we implemented these 4 strategies. Now, the other thing to know is that these 4 strategies worked for me. I do think these are strategies that could work for you as well, right? So if you're interested in learning more about these strategies or you want to chat with me, again, I'm happy to book a free 10 to 15 minute call, share with you a bit more, and maybe there's a way we can work together and I can help you out. But at the end of the day, this video was largely made because this worked for me, and in the spirit of no gatekeeping, I want to make sure you know about it as well, and hopefully you can implement this and see this kind of growth in your practice. Anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope you found this helpful. And at the very least, I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.